The name is ironic. So. Okay, thank you. Roland. Hi, everyone. My name is Damir Rogosic, but more of you know me by my Hive username, Lord Butterfly, as he said. I'm the executive producer of the first DHF-funded documentary film called Freechain. Works nice. And with me today is the film director and writer, since I don't like traveling alone, Jovan Dopuj. I'll talk a bit about how the idea got started. I'll talk a bit about marketing and, the basic goals of the film. And he's going to take over from me after that, talk about the creative side of things, the filmmaking side, and his vision for the film. So, as you guys, some of you might know, I worked on the marketing campaign for the better part of last year. My work on marketing went through two phases. The first phase was working with a top 10 marketing agency in the United States called Ignite Visibility. But they were, based in California. They had to pay wages. They were a business. So after some time, after I learned the ropes, the standards and practices, their tools they were using, all the way to the most basic stuff like, what kind of email gets the best response rate, a short one. So, after that, I took over, focused a bit more on brand awareness and everything else. So during that time, overall, the stuff we did was, basic marketing practices like running Facebook ads, Brave browser ads. We did influencer marketing with various TikTokers, YouTubers. I think I published a few dozen PR articles about Hive. There was also the informational video. I'd say at this time it's probably the most viewed Hive-related piece of content made. I think it has about 100,000 views in total. There's one thing I want to specifically talk about here. It's related to Facebook ads, as I think that's connected a lot with why I chose to go into this venture of creating the Hive documentary. And it also, I think, helps understand the problems we're facing when it comes to marketing Hive in the future. So when you're setting up Facebook ads, you do it, I'd say, through 3 steps. The first step would be setting up targeting, creating the ad message, graphics, and everything else. The new potential user clicks the ad, then he's led forward to the landing page. This is one of the versions of the landing page we had. It's fairly simple. We didn't want to overburden the new user with information they didn't need at the time. And from there, they would go towards the sign up button on the top, and we would track how many people were signing up, the retention rate, and everything else. So for the first and second, third step, for the first step, we had really nice numbers. We were getting between 2 and 3 times the industry benchmarks for click-through rate. On the landing page, we were getting between 30 and 50% click-through for the sign-up. But the problem was when we reached the sign-up stage, people simply weren't signing up at the rate we were hoping they would. So what we did, we adjusted targeting, we adjusted everything when it comes to ad messaging, we even changed the landing page. We were still getting great results on the first 2 steps, nothing changed on the last. So we went to discussing what the problems were, and what we found was this. The sign-up process was too complicated, too slow, too robust, too confusing for new users. Actually, when I was helping Jovan sign up first time for Hive, it took about 20 to 30 minutes. With that amount of time, when it comes to new users that aren't really introduced with anything but a basic ad message to the platform, it's really hard to expect us to get any type of mainstream adoption with type of system. So what I did after that, I stopped spending the budget on ads and moved towards brand awareness. This is a much more effective way of approaching things for Hive. You work on brand recognition. The positives would be, asset availability. We have those that creates amazing graphics. Every time people would see a new PR article on Twitter or on Facebook, they would always, be willing to push the engagement rate up. So the community commitment was great. And we have the ideological clarity of what Hive is about, so it's really not that hard to create a brand campaign. The negatives, of course, are the cost. So I wanted to talk a bit about the scope of marketing expenditure in the crypto market and compare it to what I had available at the time. So here is a popular crypto influencer. I've hidden his identity so he doesn't sue me. He likes to do that. I haven't spoken to him directly, but I spoke to a number of influencers that are about his size, and these numbers do look correct. So a review, $35,000, live stream mention, 20, etc. I also pulled some other numbers. This is just from the top of my head. Didn't want to dig through all of my emails. For 1 million sub YouTubers, they would cost $15,000 to $20,000 for a 15-second mention. $250,000 per month for a tiny ad on price tracking websites. Again, I'm not going to name them. If you want to know who they are, I'll say, just ask me afterwards. 50,000 per day for a full page cover. So you even have that. And people did sell, these do sell out, so there is interest, demand. So I wrote down a few examples of crypto projects that are about equivalent market cap to ours. Last year, Digital Bits spent $200 million for AS Roma. They would have their name on the t-shirt, 35 for FC Inter. Flokino, I think that's a meme coin based on the name of Elon Musk's dog. They're spending between 1 and 2 million per month. Again, these are projects of size of Hive. During that time, I was spending $5,000 per month. So you see the scope of things here. Again, working on brand awareness does work, but in order to compete with everybody else in the market, the budget needs to be much higher. So when I was coming to the end of the remainder of the funds, I had to decide, do I want to request more funds? Working with ads simply didn't work due to the sign-up system not being at the level as I think it should be. Some changes were implemented. Leo Finance does great things. Splinterlands also. There were also talks about light accounts, guest accounts as well, so hoping to see that in the future. So I had to think outside the box. When it comes to standard advertising practices, you know what you're getting for the money you spend. So there's very little range there. For ads, you know how much a click costs, you know how much 1,000 impression costs. For YouTubers, you have various metrics like engagement rate, views, subscribers. For crypto news sites, you have domain authority, visitors per day, which kind of visitors, everything. So you know what you're getting for the amount you pay. So when I say thinking out of the box, I had to find something that had a cost that the DHF could cover, but had a much higher potential ceiling. So that's when I came up with the idea for making a documentary movie. The goal of the film is getting as much eyes on the prize, as much eyes on Hive as possible. What we're going to do is present the film to as many streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, etc., and enter into various international film festivals where the team has had numerous successes in the past. When I was researching the film, there were two types of films when it comes to crypto I found. The first type I'd call, to use a naughty word, tragedy porn. You basically have a person sitting in the corner, almost with a smug, proud look on his face, talking about how someone stole $50, $100, $200 million. Almost as if he's impressed, When someone mugs a grandma on the street with $50 in her purse, that's a tragedy, that's evil. When someone steals $100 million, that's impressive to these people. He must, get up really early in the morning. The other type of documentary was the basic, I'd call it shield documentary, where the founder would, flex on the viewer with his cars, with his money, basically saying, if you buy my token, you can be like me. So, money can buy you a purple and gold G-Wagon, but it can't buy you class. I think you know who I'm talking about. So when it comes to the creative side, I think I'm going to let Johan talk a bit about that. But the idea was creating something that would connect with the viewer on an emotional level, on a basic human level. Fortunately, we have that type of story with the Hive origin. Fighting for freedom, fighting against tyranny, fighting for your voice, fighting for your right to choose who you're going to support. That's something that people can connect on a basic human level. And that's something we're going to try and convey through this film. So I'm going to stop right here, and we're going to show you guys something we prepared for today. What better place than HiveFest? A few weeks back, we had the reveal with the teaser trailer with the initial 3 interviews we did. But this time we wanted to take it a step further. This video was finished last night at 1 a.m. So you're going to be introduced to our narrator, to the art team, art direction, animation, the writing, and everything else. From there, Johan is going to take over from me. And that's it, guys, from me for this moment. So, thank you. Could we roll the video? So, hope you enjoy.
Stars. Stars in an endless expanding universe. Even the furthest are still shining brightly. These luminous balls of gas helped ancient explorers navigate the seas. Many songs were sung, many cultures were written upon the belief of guidance of those heavenly bodies. They were a beacon, a straight, narrow road to freedom. Freedom, a term that has become distant as the stars itself.
Freedom is one of those words that's used a lot, and I think most people don't understand it. That was the case for myself, I think, before I got into cryptocurrency. I kind of, to paraphrase the usual suspects, I think the greatest trick the American government ever pulled is convincing the people that they're free.
Humans' constant desire for beauty and technological advancements pushed mankind to new heights. We went searching for that attraction. But beauty is sometimes better untouched. As we progressed as a human race, little did we find that we didn't touch or corrupt along the way. Even less that we didn't systemize. For us, everything was about control. Everything was about reaching the top. And what we fail to understand is that sometimes, just sometimes, that top will break, and the avalanche could bury us along with it.
Freedom means a lot of different things, I think, so it's one word used to capture a lot of concepts. Cryptocurrency maybe helps freedom some, but it certainly doesn't solve everyone's freedom problems.
It was never about the freedom, if it even existed. It was all about the fight itself. Where one bridge is destroyed, 2 more should be built. One of the few inventions in the new era that are trying to cross the river is blockchain. Completely new technology developed by some Asian guy, or so they say.
Thank you.
Okay, it works. Welcome everyone. Thanks for having us. And before I say anything about the film, I'd first like to say as Damir, I'm originally from Dalmatia. So that game tonight, the bowling game, it's our basically national game, so we like it so much. And we came here to compete, so whoever wants to compete, we're here. Okay, so we can do it ourselves, like 2 of us, against 4 or 5, so don't worry. Okay, so first of all, you know, I was thinking a lot about how are we gonna make this film, because the budget is limited and we cannot make fiction scenes and stuff like that. So I was watching for the crypto films, like for the 2 months I tried to find everything I could, and basically, as you can see, every crypto film is the same. It starts with blockchain, then it talks about Satoshi. And I'm going to be honest with you, a year ago, I didn't know a lot about crypto. I know about crypto, but I was not in it. And then I started to meet all of you guys, and first Damir, of course, and it was a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful story. So I got to this idea where the narrator of the film is going to actually be a character in the film. So as you can see, I mean, right now you cannot see the entire character, but the narrator is actually going to go along the way with the audience to try to understand the film. So in this film, narrator doesn't know anything about the crypto. Because I wanted to, you know, I was thinking about the audience who's going to come to see the film. And I think there's not a single film that's important right now is because when a normal person comes to the audience and start listening about blockchain and everything, I mean, he doesn't understand anything. And it's not about statistics and how it works and how to get rich quick. It's not important. It's important to understand the concept of the community and what you guys are fighting for. And I believe that Steam has a beautiful story. The story with the Steam and Hive, the Hive has a beautiful story crossing from Steam. But I think we're going to use that concept in the culmination of the film, at the very end, because this story is going to be about decentralization, about the fight for freedom. And I think it can be really good because the audience that way can understand the crypto itself, and we're going to do it slowly, and the narrator itself, he's going to learn along the way. And I think that's going to be really beautiful. The animation, you saw the first 3 shots, that's a puppet pin animation, and I think it's also going to be good for the film. And basically, that's the least I can say at the moment, because what you saw right now is the first-hand editing. Of course, it's not done, the sound design, color grading, not even the same shots, because if you saw the riot shots at the beginning, this is going to be the beginning of the film. It's not going to be the stock footage that you saw, it's going to be archive footage that I'm right now working with the national televisions. They're going to give us the archive footage of the protest in digital 4K. It's going to be a lot more effective and a lot more emotional. So if you guys have any questions, then we can maybe talk about something. Okay, you go, Matt. Yeah, I hope you like the narrator. We were searching so long because it's really important, because when you have a narrator in the film, he's basically the spine of the film, because you cannot just take him out and go in a certain direction. The narrator is very important, and we had like maybe 60, 70 people interviewing for that part, but it was hard, but I think we found one, and I think he's really good for this film. No, we tried, but...
Okay. I have a question. You mentioned that when you are running ads to bring people to Hive, you have good result when people see the ad and then they make another step, and then they go to the landing page but they don't sign in. Have you tried to give something for free, like a giveaway or some tutorial before they go to the sign-in process, so they already know what they're gonna do in advance?
Yeah, so for the first step, what I saw was that people were really interested in what they were seeing. As I said, we were getting 2 to 3 times the industry benchmarks for click-through rates on the ads themselves. So there is interest. Yeah. People want to know about Hive. When it comes to free stuff, I don't really think that would have helped a lot. The Hive account itself was free. That's the free part for just signing up, you know. Overburdening people with information, with, you know, trying to explain to them you can get this or that, you know, it's just every additional step you make in this process, you lose a potential user. So maybe it could work. We didn't really try it, you know. Didn't think that it would work.
Okay, my second question is, when they already sign in and then they already pass the landing page, if there is a welcome follow-ups emails, so they know what to do when they sign in on the platform?
Due to the way the system is set up, we didn't collect emails. This is something I talked to with various front ends, SNC, Peaked, and everybody else. People weren't so inclined to collect email addresses from those that were signing up. I think they specifically say we will not collect your email address when you do sign up. So that's something. I was discussing with guilty parties a couple of times, setting up a newsletter. I also contacted Steemit, their devs that worked on Steemit before, if they could provide us with the email list. They weren't so inclined to do that either. So, you know, people are very specific when it comes to privacy and giving out information. Some see setting up a newsletter, getting emails every week, 2 or 3 emails, maybe 1 email, as a sort of incursion on their privacy. So it's the way some of the people here think. So if anybody decides when it comes to front ends they want to do that, I'm all for it. But at this time, you know, wasn't able to set it up.
I'm seeing this like from the point of view of like the investment. When you put $1 for people who click and do the process, but they don't finish the sign-in, it's like $1 that you throw away. But if you give some gift or some tutorial, something in return of the action that people are gonna do, and then they sign in for that giveaway or the reward or whatever you're gonna give them. Let's say it's just a PDF or some valuable PDF, and then they sign in and they give you the email. Then in long term, you can follow off those people, and then they're probably gonna sign in later on. Maybe not today or maybe not next week, but if you make like a good email campaign, maybe you're gonna have a higher sign-in process on your investment, the dollar that you put it first.
Yeah, I mean, we observed all the options at the time. We were even talking about setting up an email campaign, but we decided to drop it as the costs were too high compared to everything else we were going to do. So, I mean, those are some good ideas. We can explore them in the future. Right now, I'm focused on the film, but currently there are a couple of people working on marketing. So maybe, I think we're going to hear from them as well tomorrow or today. Thank you.
Hi. So I really like the idea that you're talking about making the movie and using, like, the narrator doesn't really know anything about like crypto. So I'm really looking forward to watching the movie, and I want to ask, is there like a timeline when you think it will be out?
I didn't really want to set up a timeline for them, so just to give them the opportunity to express themselves in the best way they can. Also, there were some scheduling issues, as I said. This clip was finished this morning at 1 a.m. So, especially the art making team is working on other projects, so we have to wait for them. Since I specifically wanted these guys to make the animation and the art for the film, there will be, I think, around 250 unique images created specifically for the film, tied in with the archival footage that Johan talked about. So there's plenty of work still to be done. No deadline at the time. Do you think we can give them some time frame?
It's like maybe 5 to 6 months with all the, because after we finish the animation, then comes the sound design and everything. So it's color grading. Everything's gonna take time, but around maybe 5 to 6 months is gonna be finished. Because it's also we can finish the film maybe in 4 months, but we also have to be aware of the festivals and everything, because that's how we make the strategy for the film after it is done. And we also, when we send the films to like Netflix, we have to wait for a few months because they have to review everything. So that is basically what's gonna take the most time after we finish the film.
How does it actually work when you supply a movie to Netflix? Is it like a form you submit, like you want your coin listed? I want my movie listed, or?
No, actually, Netflix works only with countries. It doesn't work with private companies. So you have to apply to the film center of your country, and then film center sends the project to Netflix, and then it's getting reviewed. The HBO, for example, it's like a private company, and then you can apply there, but for Netflix, it has to be on the country level.
Cool. You have to...
Really simple question. Do you know roughly how long the film will be?
Well, not yet, but it's going to be a feature film, at least 65, 70 minutes long.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm coming from the film business as well. So I'm just asking, do you need any help? Can I offer you help?
Thank you. I was actually thinking about if, of course, who has time for the time being, because we're going to be here, of course, for the next 4 days. If anybody wants to sit down to have a chat for about 30 minutes, it would be a great for the film to talk in person, because, I mean, online is also great, but in person is a lot more interesting, and we can talk about a lot of stuff, because I still have a lot of questions. This is a huge space, and the philosophy, I like to hear also different points of view of everybody. So if anybody has time in the next couple of days, at least 30 minutes, it would be beautiful.
So is the concept of the documentary based on interviews with people? So will we hear actual Hive users talking about Hive?
There was actually a whole point to this film is the community in the end. So we are still thinking about how we're gonna pull it off, but it is the point that at least we had this idea that during the end of the film, when we want to show the power of the community and everything, we even wanted to make a concept of everybody recording a one sentence and then trying to put it like at the end as the community itself fighting for that decentralization. But we're still thinking about it, and yeah, I mean, at the end we're gonna try to do it.
So for the time being, we covered most of the interviews. Each person that was interviewed, we have about 3 hours of footage. So in total, there were 6, right? 6 people. So we have that covered for now. What he's talking about here, we wanted to just have a bit of an input from the community themselves. So it doesn't really have to be 30 minutes. Just if you have something to say, what Hive means to you, why you're here, we're going to add that at the end of the film, just to show everybody that it's not really about only these 5, 6 people that were interviewed. It's about all of you here. So that's the idea. So if you want to be in the film, say hi afterwards, and we're going to set it up. That's it.
So some more questions. Yeah. Okay. So some of the logistical questions they already asked about, like timing and stuff like that. But as far as like funding, are you guys covered on that, or would more funding make it go faster, or does it improve the quality, or does it make sure that it actually happens and it doesn't?
No, we don't need money. We're full. Thank you.
No, I mean, what does extra money do for the project? Does it make it go faster, or does it make it better?
It does a lot, actually. I mean, further funding, for example, I'll give you a simple, for the end of the film, when we finish everything, and of course, more money, better animation, more people working on the animation and everything. But at the end, for example, you have color grading. And color grading, for example, in Serbia, is like professional one, is 800 euros for 4 hours. And if you do that for a feature film, he needs at least 10 to 15 days to finish it. So basically, to a full professional color grader, it's like, at least that is, let alone 7,000-8,000 euros, for example, to be finished, like a feature film. So of course, more funding is better film, better sound design, but we are managing what we have. Of course, if there's some project, I mean, solutions, if maybe get more money, it would be also great. But for now, we are also managing with what we have and trying to do our best.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I had a question about the earlier part. Firstly, those costs for influencer and things, is that higher in crypto than it is in the more general non-crypto world? They do seem very high, those costs.
Yeah, so basically it's the cost for a mainstream influencer times 2 when it comes to crypto.
Very
so
interesting.
Basically that's also for articles, that's also for influencers. So basically it's everything times 2.
Okay, yeah. So the reason I ask, and it's actually, I'll say one other thing. Have you studied the campaign that Jerry Banfield ran in late 2017 to early 2018? Because I've studied it carefully, and it did provide some pretty impressive metrics. It was stopped by the Facebook ad ban. And my interest here is, of course, I'm suing Facebook and Google for that ad ban. And that's why I'm also interested, because this is an issue as to damages. If it's increased the cost of advertising across the whole crypto industry by a factor of 2 compared to regular things, that's another aspect of damage. But you're wondering whether you'd studied that campaign. And I also I put out there, when, I'm suing Facebook and Google. Once I establish that they breached the law, there are a range of remedies that can, before I have to prove any damage, that will take longer. There's a range of remedies that I can ask the court for. And one of them I'm already asking the court for is free advertising for everyone in crypto, for as long as it was banned, which is getting on 4 years and 4.5 years now. But I'm interested in input from people who are actually in that space and what would actually be useful to force Facebook and Google to make up for things.
Yeah, so when it comes to Jerry Banfield, this is a bit before my time. I'm actually one of the people he brought to Hive.
Okay.
His team at the time. Yeah.
So there you go. It's really hard to bring people to Hive. I brought one person to Hive, so that's impressive.
Yeah, so I didn't really track what he was doing when I started working on marketing. It was a different time. He has, I'd say, a unique approach to things. He's really bendy.
I've submitted this evidence in the case, and it correlates with huge increases in every single metric. And when it stopped because of the ad ban, the same. I mean, it could just be, there's a lot of correlation there. But anyway, and he put his own metrics out. He put there's a lot on the chain. He posted everything on the chain. And yeah, he is unique.
Sure.
Let's just say that. But it seemed to be effective.
Because I came after the ad ban, we were able to set up Facebook ads. The company, Ignite Visibility, had an approval from Facebook to run crypto ads. So I came afterwards, so I don't really have anything to compare it to what was happening before.
So you went through a company that already had approval,
exactly.
Right.
So the other ads, the Brave browser ads, I ran, it's a crypto site, so there was no issues there. Yeah. So I have no comparison to give you with what's happening before. So maybe talking to Jerry would help, or not.
He seems to want to be back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? Matt?
Oh. That's a good rugby pass, that is. Well done, Brian. I'd like to ask the good director, how helpful has, because he's got somewhat of an interesting reputation. He hasn't really, it's great. How helpful has Lord Butterfly been in helping you understand this incredibly difficult technical?
Extremely, because when you start talking about crypto, the first word comes is blockchain, and you have absolutely no idea what it is. And so we started from the zero, but he was extremely helpful, and the way he explained it, it was really beautiful. And of course, we're still talking about it. We're going to talk about it until the end of the film and even further after that, but he was really, really helpful.
Good man.
All right.
Greetings. I don't have a question, but Lord Butterfly and I haven't always seen eye to eye, but after seeing after seeing the trailer, I want to say that good job on that, and good job on taking the courage of doing it.
Timo Detlef on the right.
You were mentioning something about the future of filmmaking on Hive. It made me look up in interest. Do you have to say anything to that?
This example with the documentary film, I think, is another way to showcase the use cases for the DHF. So I didn't really want to talk a lot about the future of filmmaking on Hive in the posts or the proposal, but I think that's something that, if this succeeds, if we create some connections in the industry, if this film is a success, of course, I'd like to see more films made, more films funded on Hive as well. So showcasing another use case for people that are creatives, that have the talent to provide something of value to all of us here. So yeah, I'd like to see that in the future.
So if you need a light rental, there is one in Austria which is accepting HBD.
Okay, thanks. Any more questions? Yes.
Here, Detlef here. To make the movie available for mass adoption, what will be the very sexy subline to attract people to view it?
That's probably a question for Johan.
The marketing, it comes at the beginning, but it also comes in at the end, because that is the good question, really. But the whole point is to try to make something original, and I think that it's never been done before, that you have a narrator who doesn't know anything about crypto and tries to learn along the way, and you're basically gonna feel as the audience like he's sitting next to you at some times, not just being there talking. So I think that is going to be basically a logline at the end, because I've been to a lot of festivals, and the originality is always what pushes the film most. Of course, it has to have the message and everything, but if it doesn't have anything original in it, and I think that is going to be different from the other films. And yeah, that is probably going to be a logline at one point. But we, of course, have to see what's the best sentence for that.
So it will be something like a learning journey or whatever into crypto.
Yeah, or block the fuck? Something like this, right? No.
Thank you.
There will be better marketers for this. Yes, most definitely. Than me, not than you guys. Sorry. Okay, I think there was a lot of questions and a great, well, kind of trailer, not really trailer, but a look into your, into your
first footage.
Work. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for showing, and good luck the coming 6 months to finalize the project and also get it listed on Netflix.
Thank you,
and the likes. Thanks a lot. Little Lamb and Lord Butterfly.